Great to see all of you, at least a dozen investors over here in PredxBio from Keiretsu in this audience. So very glad to be here. So at PredxBio, we are powering next generation therapeutics and making a huge difference in terms of patient survival in cancer. So if you're looking for an investment that is de-risked with 8 out of the 10 top pharma and revenue stream that's continually coming in and bolstering our growth, you'll love the story that I'm about to tell you. Cancer kills. I think we all know that. I'm sure all of you have relatives in your family whom cancer has touched. Probably some of you are cancer survivors. The number of cancer cases is not going down in spite of smoking going down across the world. 2030, 33 million cancer cases per year. Half of them would die. Most of these are discovered at late stages, when immunotherapy is the treatment of choice. This morning, somebody talked about immunotherapy and what's happening there, and the fact that there's only 20 or 30% response rate to immunotherapy. That's in spite of the dramatic surge in clinical trials today. As you can see, over the last few years, the number of clinical trials have gone up hundreds of percent. And the inconvenient truth here is, as the speaker this morning said, the response rate to immunotherapy is on the order of around 20%. He was generous, he said 30%. It's more like 20% across the board. So, what is this affecting besides the aggravation for patients? Clinical trials are failing because pharma companies today don't have a way to predict if immunotherapy clinical trial with a new molecule is going to work or not. 90% of clinical trials fail. Takes 10 years before they know it's going to fail. And they spend already $2.2 billion. Obviously a very unsustainable proposition, if you think about it. For patients like Sue, who has stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer, this is extremely exacerbating because she does not know whether she wants to actually get into immunotherapy or not, because the probability of her success is around 20%. And there is expense involved. The economics is not very good for immunotherapy. Hundreds of thousands of dollars need to be paid for treatment. So the drug companies, they're churning out these immunotherapy drugs every year. Keytruda, Opdivo, Concentrix, Imfinzi, I mean, you name it. Some of the names are even difficult to pronounce. But nothing really has changed. 20% response rate. This is what we are changing at PredxBio. The tumor microenvironment is an extremely complex beast. Here is a model that any of you can actually come into our booth and take a look at. You have stromal cells, immune cells, tumor cells, T cells, B cells, all forming a very complex cluster here. For the drugs to find the cancer cell and kill them with this massively complex biology is the challenge. Today, most of these drugs are developed with genomics. Genomics, by the way, basically unravels 2 to 5% of the intricacies of the tumor microenvironment, and that's really no good. So we're changing that. We're empowering pharma to accelerate discovery and revolutionize clinical trials, revealing the complex cancer biology with spatial biology and AI together. Chakra Chandibotla, who's at the back of the room, comes directly from Jeff Hinton's lab. Jeff Hinton is the father of AI. Most of you probably have heard of him. And he's the one that helped us develop this technology. Working on this for 10 years, and the last 5 years, we've been a company. So from the beginning, based on Chakra's work, we actually raised $7 million from NIH, and then we have raised funding from Keiretsu, mainly the last couple of years. We are now raising a Series A2 for $2 million. It's a participation preferred round. And Nathan, where is Nathan? Nathan is one of the signatories to this round. So we worked together with Nathan to set the deals for the Keiretsu members, very favorable, and we'll talk more about it in a second. We also are raising revenue as we speak, $1.8 million of revenue this year. BMS, Genmab, Merck, AstraZeneca are some of our customers. Tremendous momentum with the 10 plus pharma companies today. We are in around 15 clinical trials. We have contracts that have been renewed with AstraZeneca, Genmab, Roche, etc. Marquee investors. The mayor of Pittsburgh actually came and invested in our company, which is kind of pretty interesting. And NVIDIA is a partner of ours, and so is Roche. Over the last few years, Chakra and I have been doing the circuit for giving talks in spatial biology. And tremendous interest in various conferences around the world. The conferences coming up are going to be pivotal for us to spread our message to pharma and have more people come in. Like SITC, it is the ultimate conference for immunotherapy. So what are we doing? What we are able to do is predict with 90% accuracy the response to immunotherapy for customers. And that is something that nobody else at this point has been able to do. If you look at the standard of care, the curve below, today's tests are at best at 60% accuracy. And we are doing it across the board. In immuno-oncology, in ADCs, these are the new class of compounds, antibody-drug conjugates, which everyone's working on right now, bispecific and trispecific antibodies, and cell and gene therapy. In all these cases, we are exposing the mechanism of action. Why is the drug doing what it is doing? I just talked about ADCs. These are the biological missiles which have been developed to attack cancers. These comprise of an antibody, a cytotoxic T cell or a drug that's going to attack the antibody, and a linker. And the spatial configuration of all of these in terms of how it attacks the tumor microenvironment is absolutely paramount to understand. So what we try to understand is, how does the drug get there in the tumor? What does the drug do when it gets there? And why does the drug do what it does? So let's take a look at how we have been working with pharma. We used to get it in phase 2 and 3. Today, we're getting it in phase 1 with pharma. We try to figure out the difference between responders and non-responders in phase 1. That has been our mantra for the last couple of years, where pharma basically figures out how not to fail in phase 3 of their clinical trials. As a result of this, we have 90% success rate. FDA approvals for a couple of the drugs that we have worked with in the last couple of years has been just absolutely amazing in terms of the pace at which these companies have got FDA approval. This is what happens when we actually have the right biomarkers for the right patients. This is a case of diffuse deficient MMR cancer. It's a particular type of biomarker in colorectal cancer. And in this case, what you see is 95% success rate. The tumor basically shrinks and goes away as a result of combination of immunotherapy and chemotherapy. This was published by our partners in the University of Netherlands in the New England Journal of Medicine just a few months ago. And this is the kind of results that you get, 90 to 100% regression of cancer. So how do we do it? We actually take a look at the images on a tissue slide. We're able to digitize these images of the biopsies, and then we get into the network biology. So this is how it works. Here is the tumor microenvironment. In terms of the complexities, you see the tumor cells, the immune cells, the T cells, the B cells, communicating with each other. This is critical to understand. The communication of these cells and they conspire together to form these microdomains. These are clusters of cells which basically get together in a particular spatial orientation. So who's next to whom and at what direction, the geospatial location of these tumors, those correlate directly to the outcomes. And that is what we unravel. We first, with computer vision and AI technology, try to figure out how these cells are coming up in these microdomain configurations. Once we're able to do that, we can actually predict how the tumor is going to respond to therapy with over 93, 94, 95% accuracy. We have published these results extensively. Chakra, over the last few years, has been publishing in marquee journals like Nature, Cell Reports, etc. And we have patented this as well, very strongly, 10 plus patents granted. The patent areas have been true explainability in the AI system that we use, identifying these cells in an unbiased manner, the microdomain discovery, which lies at the heart of our technology. So let's take a quick look. And this is the last technical slide, and we'll just glide into our commercial go-to-market strategy in a second. We can take data from any of these modalities, proteomics, transcriptomics. Once we get the data, we are able to phenotype or identify each cell type with computer vision technology using this recursive algorithm. And we do this to find out where these microdomains are. So locating these microdomains with computer vision is the next step, once we know where these cells are and who the cells are. Once we're able to identify the microdomains, as you see on the right-hand side, we correlate this to the network biology of cancer. And as a result of this, we're also able to capture what are called transition cells, cells going from one type to another, from epithelial to mesenchymal cells. And this is something that's critical because the transition cells actually determine how the therapy is going to interact with the tumor microenvironment. Eric Topol, one of the celebrities in this area in healthcare, talks about these as the catch me if you can cells. And again, that's reminiscent of the fights that we saw in the 1970s and 80s, for those of you who were around that time. So these are our customers, Genmab, Bristol Myers Squibb, Merck, Castle, etc. MD Anderson and UPMC are our partners in this. Here is a drug that we were able to commercialize with Genmab. Jan van der Winkel talks about the fact that this is the first and only bispecific antibody which was approved by the US to treat refractory diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. We're able to do this with tremendous improvement over the standard of care. A couple of other quick case studies. In fact, this is the case study that actually got us in this path with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, where we showed 93% accuracy in predicting how the drug Epkinly is going to interact with cancer. We did this again from biopsy samples, which are labeled with biomarkers. Here's another case study of colorectal cancer, where we were able to do this with 93% accuracy in terms of predicting colorectal cancer progression. And we have taken this, again, to the next level with the microdomains. Microdomains for recurrence of disease versus no evidence look very, very different. Lung cancer, we've done the same thing with the microdomains and been able to predict with over 92% accuracy the overall survival. These are numbers that are unprecedented for pharma. And we're doing it across our entire portfolio: colorectal cancer, lung, melanoma, glioblastoma, etc. Market's huge. There's at least an opportunity of $30 billion right now, increasing to $100 billion. Our software model, we call it the 4 S's: services, search, software, in silico. In silico is building digital twins of the tumor microenvironment and testing interventions virtually. For individual patients, now we have the ability to get the patient signature of the microdomains, combine that with a drug, and predict patient response to therapy. Our revenue pipeline, rapidly growing. We can discuss more about that. If you're interested, and come to our booth. This is the pipeline of the clinical trials. So we are continually building on this. At the moment, we don't see really any competition that can stand up to what we are doing. We can talk more about some of the ankle biters that are out there, but explainability in our AI and unbiased spatial biology is something that's totally our unique secret sauce, and we have completely patented this area. Talked yesterday about patents with Michael Stein. This is the area where we have covered, Michael, in terms of complete dominance, and this is what is called a claims map, a contour claims map. And our moats go on from patents to trade secrets to the first mover advantage that we have in our strategic partnerships. This is the team, over 200 years of experience. We talked about Chakra. Craig, our chief commercial officer, is there. I come from GE and IBM with over 35 years of experience in this space. And again, we feel that this is a de-risked investment, that you have tremendous return, a decacorn potential in 2.5 years, as pharma is expressing more and more interest in this. Use of proceeds, hiring more data scientists, and making sure that we have a sales team that's robust and goes after pharma every single day. Some of our marquee investors that just came in, we talked about Tom Murphy, the former mayor of Pittsburgh, and several interesting people, as you can see here, from Sam Hanash and MD Anderson, as well as Stan Marks, the chairman of UPMC. So, as I said, we would love you to come in and invest in our company. And Brianna is up here, so thank you, Brianna, for getting us invited back again. You can see on the right-hand side our customers, and we expect to really change the survival curve of cancer. Come to our booth and experience yourself the wonders of spatial biology that's making a difference with the Apple Vision Pro. Thank you, Brianna.